Well, I was born in Syracuse, New York, and then moved to a small town when I was a junior in high school, and I graduated there. In the wintertime, everybody went on unemployment, and I waited in line for 45 minutes to sign up for unemployment. And I got up to the window, and I looked at the lady, and I said to myself, I can't do this. So I went down to the local newsstand, and I bought a Houston paper. And I bought the Houston paper, and the want ads were thicker than the Rochester Times. I just sold everything I owned. I still have my Corvette, and everything I owned fit in that car. And that car has one seat. I didn't know a soul. I had no idea where I was going. And I don't know, I just had it in my head that I was gonna go to this intersection in Houston, and came down here and got an apartment. The problem was that I couldn't get a job, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. Every Sunday, I would call my mom so that she would know that I was okay. And she said to me, she says, well, maybe you ought to start doing it God's way instead of your way. And I dropped to my knees and I says, my life is a mess. Just take it. And I said, Lord, you made me different than this. I don't know what it is, but there's something inside of me that's missing. And would you bring me a business opportunity? I go to church for this Christmas function, and there was a guy in my Bible study, and he just came up to me in the parking lot, and he says, I'm a mechanic, and I always wanted to open my own garage. Would you be my partner? I had no idea what I was doing. I had no money. And remember where I come from. I graduated from high school in a trailer. I didn't have education, and I needed to borrow money to do this. Well, I didn't have a clue. Getting the loan, I had to put a down payment on it. And one of my best friends, his name is Don Evans, lent me $50,000, and I borrowed the other money from friends and family. We went to the bank with a suitcase, figuring they were going to give it to us in cash. Now, you talk about naive. That's how uneducated we were in making this happen. Well, we still didn't know what to call the business. All right, what are we going to call it? Mark and Bill's Garage? And we're sitting around, somebody says, well, you're Christian Brothers. Why don't you call it Christian Brothers Automotive? And we both thought, that's a good idea. I'm sitting there one day and God taps me on the shoulder. I want you to open another one. And I looked up and said, not on your life. It isn't happening. Don't even bother. I'm not going there. There was a missionary that I supported in Guatemala who came back, and he came to me and he says, can we do something together? Would you help me do a business? Would you help me do anything like this? And I said, well, would you want to do another store with me? And he says, yeah, that'd be a great idea. In its first year in business, it grossed as much as mine did in its 10th year. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe I got something here. Well, I remember walking into my office and sitting in my chair and leaning forward and crossing my hands and said, Lord, you gave me this business. I'm going to give you 10% of everything I gross. It's yours. In 4 days, I got 7 people from my church wanting to do franchises. And so off to the races we were. And we got up to 21 locations, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I do now? I went out and I found some other franchisees that wanted to do more stores that had paid me enough capital up front on the franchise fees so I could get the process started. I wanted to glorify God. He gave me this business, and I wanted to change how people looked at auto repair at Christian Brothers. When I first started, it was like, I want to be a light in my community. And then it become, I want to be a light in the city that we're in. And now it's, I want to be a light in the industry. And that gives me great pride in watching that.